Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Tubonge Podcast. This is the State of the Nation episode, and today I have a marvelous panelist. With me here I have Crisanta Swekesa, a teacher of English literature. He's also a political activist. He's also an Azimio brigade. In the middle here we have Tom Oyula, a blogger, a political activist. He's current staff in the Mosbridge MCA ward, and he's also an Azimio brigade. At the far end, I have Steve Kisiabuli, who is a political analyst by profession. He's a blogger, and he's representing the UDA brigade. Okay, my guys, and in this episode of the State of the Nation, so as we start this, we dive right in, Mr. Okesa. The first question I ask is the Kenyan economy heading to the right direction? According to you, we gave them the current regime 100 days. They are nearly over. I guess they are over. Is the Kenyan economy heading to the right direction?
Thank you so much, Mr. Waidaka, and thank you for hosting us here today. And I would want to say that the current economy in this country is not headed towards the rightful direction, because we thought that when the donkey was actually tied, that someone would come and offload the burden from that donkey so that it becomes easy for the donkey to move.
The donkey, meaning the common mwananchi?
The common mwananchi,
okay.
Yes. But now, surprisingly, at the moment, someone again is adding more burdens to a tired donkey, so it cannot move. In as much as they are trying to play their games here, enticing Kenyans with sweet words, but in the long run, there's nothing much that we do expect from the current regime. Because when they came in, they told us that they are beginning from bottom here up as they move upwards. And therefore, we expected that the bodabodas, the mamambogas, are going to enjoy the regime. But if you move around here, ask any mamamboga, any bodaboda who voted for the current regime. They are all disappointed. They are regretting why they voted for William Samoei Ruto and his government.
Tom Oyula, same question. Is the state of economy heading to the right direction?
Affirmative, no.
Affirmative, no. With few words?
I'm very disappointed. Because when we talk about economy, we are not talking about just what you are planning for us today. Economy has to have the basis of what happened in the past, what we are going through today, and whatever we want to do tomorrow.
The future.
The future. No third world country in the world has ever survived on taxes. I think the problem with the Kenyan government, the current government today, it comprises of people who are never trusted. So even if you tell us to give them tax...
But the majority of the people voted them in. It's not like a dictatorship.
No.
You entrusted them with your votes.
Not we.
Not
but,
you.
No,
Some.
No, when you talk about democracy, even a fool can come out and be the winner. Because there is a lot of fools around. So in Kenya, people do not know much about economics. I think the first problem we are having in the country is that we have to sensitize Kenyans on what it entails when we talk about economy. Because you cannot just tell us that we will fund.
Where's the money coming from?
We will fund. The reason as why we are having banks around, the reason as why we are having richer people around and others not rich, is because we are dependent on one another. The problem comes if we are going to use that money we borrow in the right direction.
Mr. Steven Kisabuli, the same question. What do you think? Is the economy of Kenya heading to the right direction?
For me, thank you first for having me here. I appreciate your invite. And about the economy of the country, for sure I think it's heading in the right direction. And this is my point. Why, as my panelists have said, the only thing they are worried about is about our taxes in their submission. The things they are really talking about is about the taxes, which hasn't been effected even yet. So we are talking of something that even hasn't started working. So you can't talk about something that hasn't started working when it's still in the pipeline.
But you know, in your current regime, our current regime, let me put it like that, our current regime, They said in 100 days we want to see something. We are going towards something, a bottom-up economy. According to you, is that being effected right now?
According to me, that is being effected. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because when you check in the current set of the nation, we have discussions. You have to bear in mind we are still using last year's financial, the financial bill we are using till this time. It's the budget we are using is Uhuru's budget till this time that you are in right now. So anything we are saying, anything the government is doing now is making plans for the future, and that's why we have this the finance bill. That's why we have this budget. That's why we have this discussion that is going on right now. So if you ask me if this regime is doing something, yes, it's doing something.
What is it doing? Give me an example, a rough example.
Let's take, for example, the taxes that have been done away with. Be it in the construction industry, be it in a lot of products in this finance bill. A lot of taxes have been exempted. For that I can say.
And also, a lot of products have been increased. Let's put that in consideration.
Okay, let's check on the products that have been increased.
Before we reach into taxation, Mr. Steve, according to you, you have said the economy of Kenya is going in the right direction. Okay, now let's come to the second question. We'll start with you. The finance bill. What are your views in the finance bill?
First of all,
do you support the finance bill or not?
I support the finance bill. Because at the end of the day, why do I support this finance bill? I've been reading the Azimio manifesto. It's a good manifesto. I think it's here. You have it here. It's a good manifesto.
Thank you for that.
And it's a good manifesto. And though the Kenya Kwanza manifesto was the best manifesto, though it's also for the Azimio is a good manifesto, and it had good things. And I can just name the good things the Azimio guys had. For Kenyans, we can talk about the Baba Care, we can talk about the 6,000 they were promising, the 2 million vulnerable people. We can talk about they had promised single mothers, they had something for them. They had promised civil servants who have retired. They were to get, their medical was to be covered by the government. Why am I even trying to put this thing in the open? It means with just their manifesto, if they had the chance to win this election, they'll have to actualize in this manifesto. I was wondering how will their finance bill be like? Because we are talking about giving people free money.
But the question that comes right now is the Azimio coalition is in the opposition. You guys are the ones in power. You cannot be trying to accuse the opposition. What if? What we are asking is, what is now, right now? What are you guys doing? Is the finance bill helping the Kenya Mwananchi? Because it's the UDA members who are in power right now, not the Azimio coalition. So, does it help us or it does not help us?
Thank you. Thank you for saying whatever you're saying.
Because I get it. Yeah, they had the plan, but you guys are now actualizing it.
Okay. First of all, we don't in Kenyan in the Kenyan constitution. There's no room for an opposition. It's only the majority and the minority.
Yeah.
And even if you have to say the opposition, an opposition is a government in waiting. So at the end of the day, why am I referring to their manifesto? A government in waiting has to have an alternative to the sitting government, because anything can happen in a political in the political sphere. So what if the Azimio takes power now? We have to discuss what they had to offer for us.
In reality, they can't. But in just saying they can't, they can't. But
they can. But and that's
right now,
you know,
the next 5 years, you guys are in power. Not
Yeah.
the Azimio collusion.
Yeah, but okay, we know we will be in power in the next, not just 5, in the next 10 years.
And that's up to campaigns and everything. We're talking about 5 years.
But anything can happen even before the 5 years, and that's what some of your top guys are saying. Anything can happen. The president can be impeached. So and you can call for a fresh election.
So how
why am I trying to connect that into
Mr.
the
Samuel,
current situation?
so what's your view on the finance bill?
My view in the finance bill is that we are.
Is it helping or is it adding more burden? It's helping. According to you.
According to me. Let me finish this. What I have in my mind. Why am I saying it's helping? We are talking about the taxes. We are talking about what this finance bill is going to do to the citizens. And we are seeing in this finance bill, first of all, we have to understand what our finance bill is. For us even to be able to...
Before we come back to that, and I want us to go clause by clause about the finance bill. Okay, let's put a general view of it. Mr. Tom, is the finance bill helping the Kenyan mwananchi or is just another burden?
As I said earlier, this government, the Kenya Kwanza government, they came into power not knowing what to do for this nation. And that is why I heard some of them saying that the housing levy was also in the Azimio coalition, so it would have done it. Then my question is, how do you fund your budget? Budget cannot be funded by just taxes.
By taxation.
Yes, you cannot fund budget by taxes. I'm so
it's one of the ways.
It's one of the ways, but it should
but
be
not
a
the
minor
main.
way for a third country. That's what it means. Because one of the things is the same government that told us it's not going to borrow. It has borrowed more than the previous government did in the first 9 months, isn't it? Now, when the same government is telling us they will do such a things within 100 days, didn't they know that within 100 days they will be using the previous budget? They knew it, isn't it? Ruto is a graduate, is a PhD holder, so he can't lie to us that he didn't know that within 100 days he will be in the same budget that was in the previous government. The only thing they did was to lie to the innocent and ignorant Kenyans to get power. After they have gone to power, they were trying to implement Azimio manifesto without knowing how we had planned on how to implement it. No.
So you're saying the UDA coalition had no manifesto. They had to borrow some from the Azimio coalition.
By the way, let me tell you for free. The UDA manifesto was a copyright of the original Azimio manifesto. Because some of those people in the UDA who wrote the manifesto, Andy, isn't it? David Ndii wrote the economic manifesto for them.
Yeah.
Mudavadi was part of it. Then Mudavadi was with us just before he crossed over. So they knew our plan, previous plan. We have had a plan for this nation, not just for the 5 years. We had a plan. Raila has been in politics for the last 30 years. So he had a plan for this nation ever since. And every plan was changing depending on the circumstances surrounding the nation at that particular time. They came in power. You see, whatever they are doing is returning us back to Moism. Moism, where tax was, we are going to a place where we are going to tax even our hens and our chicken. Because that's where we are headed. They are going to tax everything. Let me give you an example of that. Now, look at the UDA saying they're reducing tax for building material. Isn't it?
Yeah.
The same UDA is saying the government is going to build houses for us. Now, the manufacturer is going to lose because he's going to be, is going to sell to the government. He's going to procure the materials.
But Tom, when you look at it, you can say the government is trying to now to implement the construction sector. When you want to improve the construction sector, you have to at least exempt some taxes on the construction materials. Now you say there'll be like subsidies. Those will be like subsidies to the manufacturing and construction company.
They will have just told me that Tom, maintain your salary, or we are increasing your salary. You will build your house at home. Now, me, I live in Chebarus. Bondeni. You are telling me you want to build houses in Eldoret. Who told you I want to live in Eldoret?
A debate that will continue. Mr. Chris, your views on the financial bill?
My view is so simple, Mr. Gidaka. You see, the president of the Republic, who happens to be Mr. Ruto, has taken Kenya for a ride, whereby he thinks that Kenyans are fools. That he wakes up today, he says this, the following day again he says something else. The funniest thing is that for you to be a UDA member, you really have to be very strong, by the way, because you have to defend even the defenseless things. For example, how do you defend your president when he says that he's reducing gas from 2,500 shillings to 300 shillings? It's even impossible, you see. But if you are in UDA, you have to defend that. You see, now they are playing around with the finance bill. Oh, we have released this one's due from what to what. Oh, we are doing this and this and this. The essential thing here is actually fuel. And fuel has three basic taxes. IDF, which stands at 3.5% at the moment, and RDL, which stands at 2.5% today, and then the VAT, which stands at 8% today. Then the government, now that it knows that its members don't know anything about levies, they are telling them that we have reduced the IDF from 3.5% to 2.5%. They clapped. We have reduced RDL from 2.5% to 1.5%. They clapped. But then they are not explaining why now the VAT has not been reduced from 8%
to 16%.
No, why they have not reduced the VAT from 8% to 4%. They have increased the VAT from 8% to 16%. And nobody is speaking about that. You see. And then the same president who was telling Kenyans that hawa mabwenyenye hawa hawa matajiri hawa ambao hawataki watoto wa maskini wawe na pia rais wa nchi hii, kila siku usiku na mchana wanaongeza VAT kwa mafuta. Mimi nikiingia katika hii serikali, tunaenda kitu ya kwanza ni kupunguza nini? Bei ya mafuta. The same preacher is the same preacher today who has increased the VAT that he was condemning during the electioneering period from 8% to 16%. That's now where Kenyans are now confused. On the housing levy. The housing levy has been
before we reach there,
yes.
Before we reach there, we had a general review of the finance bill. Let's go back to Steve now. Now, Steve, let's go close by close. We are starting with the as Chris has already started with the fuel levy and the taxation. So the VAT prices has been doubled from 8 to 16%. So is this improving our economy, or does this increase a burden to the common mwananchi, to the mama mboga who is traveling from Westbridge town to Matunda with boda, a price of 50 bob? We know now it will be increased to 100 bob. Now, is it increasing our economy, or is it being a burden to the hustler nation?
Thank you for that question. One thing I have to say about this fuel tax, VAT on fuel, and I'd just like to engage my fellow panelists. We act as if we don't know, or maybe we don't have that information. When this discussion of VAT from 8% to 16% happened, it's not even in this regime. This VAT thing was there even in the last regime. But let me finish. In fact, it was even there. It was being discussed during Kibaki's time, and the only thing as a country we have been doing is the same thing Uhuru has been doing, giving subsidies. So we were postponing a problem that we have. So it is high time as Kenyans we have to deal with the problems head on. At least let's face the monster we have without fear. Instead of fearing to face it, and will come to face it in the coming years. And that is the truth about the VAT on fuel.
So these guys.
One thing we have to appreciate about even my well-known panelist here said the president was able to reduce the IDF and the railway duty levy from 2.5 to 1.5.
As a percentage of what?
Okay.
Because that the problem is, I'm a mathematician. You don't just say a percentage of what?
But
my brother, if you will reduce 1%, reduce another 1%, and then increase at 8%, what have you reduced?
But
for example, the police officers are big.
Moderator,
Okay, Mr. Tom. Let's Steve finish. Okay, let's Steve finish. Yeah. Okay.
I'm the only one here to defend the government.
Okay.
Others feared. How do you defend UDA?
Okay.
How do you defend UDA?
From hungry
They
and
feared.
angry.
They feared.
Let him finish. So we are going. Everybody at his own.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Steve, continue.
So as I was saying, one thing we have to appreciate is that the president actually has the willingness to reduce those levies we have just said, the two levies. Yes, there's the 16% increase. There's the 8% increase
in
VAT. But that is not something that was even in our manifesto. It's not something.
And how do you implement it? How do you implement it?
Okay.
I'm just saying. Have you been
I'm the moderator. Okay.
It was not in their manifesto, but they implemented it. Now, why do you implement things which are not in your manifesto?
Okay. Well, what he's saying is this problem has been occurring. So what we are trying
was Ruto in Mexico when these problems were happening? And then when he was campaigning, he was lying to Kenyans.
Let's move from there. Let's go to the housing bill and budget. Okay, according to you, because the VAT has already passed, is an assurity because the UDA members are the majority. The housing bill will pass.
Yes.
That's a clear indication.
It has already passed.
So
dictatorship.
According to you,
A member of Azimio, a member of
Mr. Steven.
Azimio.
Chris, I'm the moderator and I'm talking to him now. Mr. Steve, okay, according to you, the housing bill, it was to cover the iniquity of houses. So, what is this house iniquity that has been going on that we need to face it right now? Because it's the monster we are facing right now.
Okay, thank you. One thing we have to know in our constitution, Article 43, it provides that every citizen has a right to proper housing, proper sanitation. And as a country, we do know the number of slums we have in this country. We do know. We do know the kind of condition people are living in this country. It's not something we can hide. It's something that we know. And even these Azimio guys they know it. And that is why I'm telling you, the woman rep of Nairobi, Honorable Passaris, voted for this house levy because she understands the kind of challenges people are passing through in Nairobi slums. The many slums we are having here, even here in Moisbury, I'm sure there's a slum somewhere down there.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, and
it's up to debate. Continue.
And that is something I'm even happy Azimio had it in their manifesto. And as we had started, I had these people saying that we took their printout to make it as our manifesto. I just want to tell you, this housing plan and housing program was in the last government.
Yeah, but
yes.
And just to remind you something, the last government, His Excellency the Doyen, President William Ruto,
Who is my
was
president
the
again?
deputy president, and in fact, the most functioning member of that government that was there. So if you are talking about this project being your project and we stole it, then you stole it from us before we stole it from you again.
But
So
you disowned the
okay,
government.
okay,
They
okay,
disowned
Mr.
the government and they said, and the government
one at a
belongs
time,
to
one
the
at a time, one at a time. Okay,
No,
okay.
they said it was our
Sabuli,
government.
Mr. Sabuli, as you are saying, yeah, the housing bill and its importance according to you. So the second question comes here: is it a contribution or is this a taxation? Because His Excellency, when he started, he said this is a contribution. Is it a contribution or is this a taxation?
One thing you have to know about taxation is when you are taxed, the money goes. You are not.
So
even
we are
explained,
contributing through taxation.
You are not even explained how the money is going to be used, unless you are somebody who is very inquisitive and you are willing to read on how the government is spending with the kind of taxes they are using. Unless you are open to getting that knowledge, you'll never know where your taxes are. But for this.
Let him finish. It's your time.
But for this house levy, what is the government saying? After 7 years, you can it's like bonga points. You can redeem your bonga points after 7 years.
The conditions.
It was ruled out.
So 7 years thing was ruled out.
It was ruled out.
You cannot
So
withdraw
you
your
cannot
money.
redeem that.
Okay.
After-
Mr. Steven, it's your time. You finish. You'll have your time to oppose him. Yeah. Let him speak. You can continue.
It was ruled out, but there's still discussions in Parliament, right? For everything that is still in our manifesto, everything in our finance bill is still in Parliament. It
has not been passed. It's still in debate.
It hasn't even.
Okay.
The president hasn't ascended to it, so it's still under scrutiny.
How will he refuse to assent to it?
Okay.
It's
When
still
the
under
drafters, when the
scrutiny.
drafters
Okay. So the contribution is a better housing allowance for other Kenyans, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So why does the Azimio coalition and the Mio brigade oppose to a better housing?
Let me ask us again.
To a better housing.
You see, my friend Steve here, okay, I like how he's trying to defend the UDA brigade, which has nothing to even defend. So you see, this the housing levy, or as they call it, I don't know how they call it. Don't sugarcoat this housing thing. It is just a sheep that has got the sheep skin, the hyena skin, and the goat skin at the same time.
The question, Mr. Crisantas, is does the Kenyan population or Kenyan as a country, do you have a deficit in terms of better housing?
There is a problem in our country as far as housing is concerned. It is a problem in our country.
And does it make it does it make it a solution to have a better housing plan?
What they are doing is they are jumping from grade 1 and they're going straight away to grade 7. That's the problem.
So what's the solution from Azimio Brigade?
You see, the housing thing has been there even in the Jubilee government that they disowned, and they called it the Raila Uhuru government.
After handshake.
Yes, this thing has been there, but the previous government, which belonged to Uhuru Kenyatta, did not force Kenyans into this thing. It was doing it without forcing Kenyans. It was doing it without squeezing your pockets dry, and they were implementing the housing program. These guys want an avenue where they can squeeze Kenyans' money and fix it somewhere else.
But according to the UDA brigade,
yes,
what they're saying is, the Jubilee government and the Uhuru Kenyatta's era, they had the time and the period to build this housing project. But what it was doing, it was at a very slow rate. Okay, that's according to the UDA brigade.
There's no hurry in that thing. First and foremost, we are addressing the urgent problems that we have as a country. The most urgent problem that we are facing as a country is the economic crisis. Kenyans do not have money. Kenyans cannot afford even 2 meals a day. Those who can afford 2 meals a day are the people who are found at the middle strata of the economic pyramid. But majority of Kenyans today, as we are talking, are going at 1 meal in a day. That's the problem that we first of all need to address. When you are talking of slums in Mathare and Kibra, first of all, you need to know that before this man or this woman goes into that slum to sleep, he or she has gone hungry into that slum. So do you address their housing problem first, or you address their stomach problems first? You address their stomach problems first. When my stomach is full, I can even sleep outside. I have no problem. But why do you believe me? A house which I'm not even sure of, while forcing other Kenyans. You see, what they're simply doing is creating that class war between the rich and the poor. Today there's a war between those people who are on payslips and those people who are not on payslips.
So according to
addressing an issue which is not urgent.
So you're saying the housing bill is an issue? Right
The
now.
housing bill is an issue, but they are doing it in a way that's not appropriate to this country.
So which is the appropriate way? Because I'm not
Let us first of all address the urgent problems that we have at the moment. They told us pesa mfukoni, let us see that one first. They told us mama mboga apate mahali pazuri pa kazi na akue funded. Let us see that. Let us see Kenyans not going hungry. Then after Kenyans are satisfied, we have got good road, good money in our pockets. Then let us now come now to the issue of housing.
So according to the Azimio Brigade, the housing bill, we should put it at bay first.
Yes.
We deal first with the urgent issues.
Kenyans are going hungry.
Mr. Tom, let's continue. Let's continue as we continue.
No,
Let's continue. No, let's move from there.
No.
Okay, one point and we move on.
My brother, you talk about housing, you are talking about land issues. Sasa, to me, I don't believe our president when it comes to land issues.
What do you mean? No, this is a live show. You cannot be throwing accusation without evidence.
We have the mutation.
No. We don't. No,
We have got evidences.
No,
we have evidences.
You have evidence, but he has not.
Go to the YouTube and follow the court
He has not been arraigned in any
follow the court proceedings.
We cannot move forward with such mentality. We have evidence.
Not mentality.
No.
The evidences.
We cannot be saying
The mutation land.
You can see how it's hard to deal with an opposition.
The mutation land is there.
Let's deal with what we have in
land
hand.
which William Ruto took.
No.
He was taken to court.
No.
And the Muteshi won that case.
We are talking about
Before a court of law,
No.
before a court of law, Muteshi won that case
We are talking
against
about
William Ruto, who had taken his land.
What the letter?
So,
We are talking
okay.
about housing.
Okay.
why
Let's
even
continue.
the issue of
Mr. Tom, one point. Mr. Tom, one point as we continue.
Now I was saying, I have a problem. You know, being a president means the Kenyans entrusted you with their votes. Sasa, entrusting with your votes according to your manifesto. Isn't it? He told us a lot of the rhetoric stories we had during the campaigns was about economy. Because by then, it was in the public domain that Kenya had a problem with the economy. Isn't it? Now, when you are sent to power, why do you change from economy and go to housing? I'm coming there. The problem is we have a president who is so smart and shift at switching volumes. He's so smart in that. And he knows very well that his supporters are not keen on pursuing or being consistent on the promises they were given. We walk around. By the Moss Bridge is more of an UDA zone. We walk around, we find them. Some of them who voted for the same government are our friends, are our partners. Some of them are our colleagues in the industry we are doing. They lack even what to tell us because they didn't know exactly what was in the booklet. They called the manifesto. It was about a 300-page booklet. They never read it. And that is why the implementation of the same has become so hard. They have come to our smaller page manifesto. That's what they are trying to implement. My brother, taxes,
as you're finishing, Tom. Yeah.
My brother said here that we give taxes without knowing where they are going. My friend, the reason that's why we're having a budget that was read the other day is because they have to give us on how they are going to use our budget, our taxes. That is what they do. Today, the same government is saying they have a deficit of 791 billion. Now, where are they getting the other money? It is from our taxes, isn't it?
Yes.
Taxes are meant specifically not to pay salaries. They are meant for development purposes.
But the taxation fee from the bread that you're buying, yeah, from let's say the fuel you're buying, you can argue you are the employer of the civil society, right?
But
because the taxation money is the one that pays the police officer that is working somewhere.
I'll ask you a simple question like that. I'll ask you a simple question. When did Kenya become a multi-party state?
I'm not sure about it.
That is 1992, isn't it? 1992. After people fought, others died, when Kenya became a multi-party state. In your own psychology, when you see a president keen at buying off the opposition MPs for purposes of passing bills,
Okay,
what does it hold in your mind? Because at the end of the day, ask Pasaris.
Mr.
Ask Pasaris today.
Okay.
Can we
Don't give it
No,
because he's not for that.
no. You are two. He's only
you are
one.
two.
He gets a chance to speak.
Thank you. One thing I think, since we're in this panel, I have to disassociate myself with a lot of things that these guys are talking about. One thing this nice gentleman has said here is that taxes are not meant to pay salaries. Taxes are meant for development. I don't know where he gets that information from.
It is in the legal fraternity. It is in the legal fraternity.
So where should we get money to pay?
It is in the legal fraternity that you should not use more than 30%.
But you're saying taxes are not supposed to be used to pay taxes.
Our
To pay-
budget
to pay-
today,
to
our
pay.
budget today is 3.16 trillion, isn't it? We only have a deficit of 700. That is what we are going to borrow.
Okay,
The
gentlemen.
next
Let-
2.4 is our taxes.
Mr. Top.
How do you use
Moderator.
2.4 to pay
Mr.
salary?
Tom, thank you.
Moderator.
One thing. You just say one thing, and we continue.
You can't jump to me and say I have to say one thing and we continue when you're giving me a chance.
Okay.
And somebody is rebattling whatever I'm
Give him time to defend his regime.
Okay.
we are
Okay, 2 minutes.
we are the government.
No, not 2 minutes. 1
We are the
minute.
government.
1 minute at top.
Even
Okay,
if I-
continue.
We are the government. We have to speak.
Okay.
We have to speak.
I'm
and
calling
speak.
Go
government.
direct,
I'm
yeah.
calling government.
A sick government.
One thing he had said is that we are not supposed to use taxes to pay salaries. He has already said it's not true whatever he was saying. Thank you. Another thing he said.
It is not that it's not true, my friend.
No,
Let me-
no,
me time to
Tom,
speak.
you had your
Give
time.
me
You had
time
your
to
time.
speak.
Tom, you had your time.
No,
You'll
you-
get your time. You'll get your time. Let him
How
speak.
can I get my
No,
time? You've said
no,
it's not anyone.
no, you can speak now. Steve, Kisabul is your time. You can now speak.
Give me time to
Uh-huh.
speak. I want to go back to what is a finance bill. A finance bill is a how is the government going to make money? It's a set of
Set of blueprint,
ideas
yeah?
of how the government
Or a
is going
blueprint of how you'll follow up to get the
to
money.
get the money. Yeah. Then we have the budget where now
How you'll spend the money.
It speaks on how we'll spend the money we have gotten. Then we have the appropriation bill that is coming on, and the
Which one should
appropriation
come first?
bill.
Which one should come
No,
first?
here's the time.
Give him time.
Give him time.
He's
to
defending
speak, huh?
the.
And he's asking, by the way, he's asking a good question. Because which one should come first? And I'll post also this a question to counter question your question, and ask you, do you plan for the money you have, or you have to plan for the money you don't have?
You have to plan for the money you have.
You have, right?
Yes.
So you have to deal with how are we going to get this money first?
So which one came first?
After
Budget or
the-
the finance bill?
The finance bill.
No. Have we not had the budget?
But the finance
So the finance bill came before the
came
budget.
before the budget.
Please be in
So which
Kenya.
finance bill?
Be in
All the
Kenya.
finance bill.
My brother.
It was not passed in parliament, but the finance bill issue came before we read the budget.
So you are talking about the money you are suspecting to have.
No,
Because at the end of the day, the finance bill was not discussed, isn't it?
But
you
no,
brought the
but
budget.
it has-
but
it
Mr.
has
Tom,
been passed.
That is why you see
Mr. Tom,
some
Mr. Tom,
that is why you see some
Mr. Tom, it goes without doubt. The UDA members are the majority, and most of the Azimio members, as you are trying to allude, they are being bought off.
And they're not
Not
being
being
bought.
voted.
And
You
they're not
cannot
being
ban Azimio member.
Okay. As you
William
finish,
Samoei Ruto is using threats and using taxpayers'
Okay.
money
Is that for
to buy
Can I just-
to buy the poor MPs.
Wait,
To buy the poor
I'm the
MPs.
moderator.
Why can't he
I'm the
buy? Why
moderator,
can't he
please.
buy the rich MPs from Azimio now?
As a moderator, you have to moderate the
What I'm saying, Tom.
No, but
Tom.
don't
Tom,
lie to us.
Okay, Tom. What we are
Who
saying
is
is
lying to
the
you?
finance bill in default it has already passed. Even
Yes.
you have said you have agreed. So
Yeah,
we
it
already
has
have the
already passed
money.
through
We don't
dictatorship.
have the money.
Yeah.
So why
We agreed.
should we discuss?
Through dictatorship, through
Why should we
Yes,
discuss?
democracy,
through
it has already
dictatorship,
passed.
the
Why should we
finance bill
discuss it?
has passed
The problem-
through dictatorship
So that's
of
what-
William
that's-
Samoei
the problem.
Ruto.
That's what the question.
The problem-
That's the question I was asking, Tom.
And that's why
The problem with that
Now Steve finish
the problem with
up on the
Azimio
finance
guys
bill.
is that they believe the minority are always speaking of the majority
Which
of the
minority?
people. The minority is the Azimio.
Which
They
minority?
always believe you're speaking on
Let me-
on
Now you
behalf
have
of the
brought me back to
majority.
the question I asked you the first time.
No,
you have brought me back.
let me-
Who is minority in Kenya?
The
Yeah,
minority,
This government,
the minority is the Azimio
this
coalition.
government has a basis of unconstitutional, has a basis of unlawlessness.
That's according to your view.
Not my, that is the truth.
Because
And then let me ask you a simple question. For example, let me give you an example of this nominated MP called.
You're the only one speaking, so you can't be speaking of people you don't know.
There's this woman we nominated in Azimio.
Oh, Sabina Chege.
Sabina Chege.
Yeah.
Now, legally, what do you expect when a person?
We'll reach there. We'll reach there.
I think we have-
I have a question. We'll reach there. Okay. Let's go to the second question, my guys, as we continue. Because I'm as we at this rate, I don't know if we will finish.